What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. Continuing on with my NFL Week 6 game recaps, we're here discussing Sunday Night Football between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, heading into this game, the New York Giants are red hot. You know, this is another team that started very, very slow, 0-2 to start the year, and then the following past three games, the Giants are they're on a 3-game winning streak going into Philadelphia. The Giants are now on the road. They're going to be on the road for the next couple of weeks. Next week, they do get the Dallas Cowboys, who are coming off a very exciting victory over the Seattle Seahawks. But can the New York Giants squeeze out a victory against the Eagles, who are also 4-1? San Diego, in my last video, the Eagles and Chargers are just neck and neck. A lot of people are saying that that's their fantasy Super Bowl matchup. So this was a game which it was just completely dominated by the Philadelphia Eagles. There's not really much to say. I mean, the New York Giants, they came into this game and it was like, what happened? The New York Giants got depleted on their offense. You know, Eli Manning came in, did not look too hot because he only completed 13 of his 23 passes. Pretty accurate night, but it was, you know, there was no opportunity for them to really score. They did lose Victor Cruz in this matchup, and that's going to hurt this team in the long run because Victor Cruz is one of the premier wide receivers on this roster. You know, there's still a lot of improvement for Odell Beckham Jr., who had a muff punt in this game. He still needs more time to develop, and I think that, you know, having him be their #1 wide receiver going in the next week, it could help some fantasy owners out there. But for right now, on a personal feeling, I guarantee you that it's going to hurt the young wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. The team did have a pretty okay performance in the rushing game with Andre Williams, the rookie running back out of Boston College tonight. 16 carries for 58 yards, 3.6 yards a carry on average tonight. Peyton Hillis did have a little bit of a workload at the end of the game, but you know what? Nothing was able to stop the Philadelphia Eagles. The offense for Philadelphia was on fire. LaShawn McCoy finally found his game today. You know, it was the past couple of weeks where, you know, where is LaShawn McCoy? I had LaShawn McCoy on my fantasy team, traded him away for a lucky pickup of Demaryius Thomas. I mean, if you're looking at that, you know, name-wise, Demaryius Thomas or LaShawn McCoy, you're obviously going with LaShawn McCoy, the best running back in the NFL. You know, if you look in years past, you would definitely go with LaShawn McCoy, you know, overall, you know, but name stature, LaShawn McCoy over Demaryius Thomas. But he had 22 carries for 149 yards. He did fumble the ball. I still thought that was a fumble. I think that the Giants were a little bit, you know, mishapped right there on that challenge. I did see, you know, I didn't see a knee go down. He was still in the air. The ball came out, but you know what? It was upheld, and that's just the way it was. You know, LaShawn McCoy did have one fault, but that does not pick up anything. But the Eagles also had a huge injury on offense as Darren Sproles early in the second half went down with an injury. A lot of people are saying it's going to be in his knee, and you know, the Giants played a little bit rough on defense today. You know, this is a very hungry defense trying to find some success. You know, DRC, Prince Amukamara, Jason Pierre-Paul, some very, you know, dynamic players on this team, and they are trying to get the best and try to stop this, you know, on fire Eagles offense. And you know, they played a little bit rough, and Darren Sproles could potentially end up, you know, missing some time. They're still you know, reevaluating the injury of Darren Sproles. Victor Cruz, you know, he had a knee issue trying to look for the end zone in the early goings of the first half. I think it was reported he tears his patellar tendon in his knee, so that's not very good. He could potentially end up missing out of the year. Likely he is done for the year, and like I said, you know, now they're going to end up transitioning over to a much younger wide receiver and Odell Beckham Jr. They also do have Ruben Randall there, so but you know what? Ruben Randall has not performed up to a high standard so far this year. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be their guy, but there's the biggest injuries today coming on both sides of the ball for Philadelphia. The passing game. We'll talk about the passing game. Nick Foles tonight he played average tonight. I did not see a whole lot from Nick Foles tonight. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for 248 passing yards, 21 for 34. That's just an average game. Those 2 interceptions were silly, and he really needs to start buckling down, you know, following the bye week. You know, he's got to get something rolling because Philadelphia is going to be having a very complicated schedule schedule coming up, and you know what, you cannot turn the ball over like this tonight. Even though they did win in a blowout and their defense was on tap tonight, you cannot force to throw that many interceptions. I mean, 2 interceptions, that's a pretty bad game for any quarterback, and he was probably saying it himself in a press conference. I don't listen to a lot of the press conferences following the game unless it's my San Diego Chargers, but I guarantee you Nick Foles will be like, it's time to go back and start, fixing the turnover ratio game, because he has been just not really, very good in the passing game at 100%. I think that Nick Foles can play above and beyond. He has to reach his max potential, and he has not yet reached that yet if he keeps on throwing these, these silly interceptions where he's running out of the pocket. And, you would think that, a quarterback like him, who has just aged a whole lot and just really, got a little bit more mature, and, he seems like he's been playing in the NFL for almost 4 to 5 years now. You would think that, he would end up throwing the ball out of bounds. But no, he does the rookie mistakes, and he just throws it down the field and hopes for something that would happen. And that ended up costing him tonight. But you know what? The Eagles still won in a blowout. They destroyed the New York Giants. I don't like to tend to use that word destroyed, but you know what? If you shut out a team 27-0 in this entire game, heads up to the Eagles. You're 5-1. You're 4-0 at home. But now it's a very struggling, upcoming schedule for you guys. As for the New York Giants, just like the Eagles, you guys do have a pretty rough patch of a schedule heading forward. The Giants are going to be on the road next week, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, and they come back home against the Indianapolis Colts, Seattle, San Francisco, Dallas. So that's a pretty, tough schedule for you going forward. You play Dallas in the next 5 or 6 games, so you play Dallas twice in the next 6 games, so that's pretty complicated for the New York Giants coming up, and they really need to start pulling out some victories. As for the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to be back playing on October 26th. They're going to be on the road for the next 3 weeks. The next 4 games, their next 3 games will be on the road. They're going to be on the road against the Arizona Cardinals, Houston Texans, and they're going to be back at home on November 10th against the Carolina Panthers, and then they're back on the road taking on the Green Bay Packers. So this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup on October 26th, and taking on the Arizona Cardinals, it's going to be a huge game for this team. But like I said, Nick Foles needs to start working on how he can get better and not turning over the ball. The offensive line is not where it wants to be. There's a lot of injuries on that offensive line. Jason Peters is that guy, and also Lane Johnson. They're glad that they have him back. This offensive line still is not where they want to be. They're waiting for Jason Kelce to get healthy for his return at some point. So the Philadelphia Eagles, needless to say, defeated the New York Giants 27-0. 5-1 for the Eagles, 3-3 for the New York Giants. Eagles and Dallas Cowboys are tied for first place in the NFC East. I'm Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Make sure you guys leave your comments down below in the comment section, not in the description box. I did make a mistake in my last video. Please leave your guys' comments down below in the comment box. I'm Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. I'll catch you guys next time.